Recording is in progress. Hello, everybody. Daryl Snyder, Fantasy Sports Logic, flying solo today. Brandon is on assignment. He was actually available earlier, and I wasn't. But today is Wednesday, already August 8th. This is our daily deeper dive podcast in conjunction with Ballpark Pal, one of our awesome partners. They do a couple of things for us. They provide these charts that we do a daily deeper dive into, thus the name, the Daily Deeper Dive Podcast. They also are one of 7 data projection providers inside the Contrarian Edge Optimizer. They simulate any given MLB slate up to 3,000 times. So a lot of crazy, cool things happening. We go here real quick, go to the homepage, fantasysportslogic.com. You'll see front and center, exciting announcement about a special promotion that includes our friends at Drafters. So you can check that out. I'll cover it here at the end of going deeper into the charts, but you might want to check that out. And then there's also a link that says VIP promotion. That'll be on the front page as well, probably by tomorrow, but you can read about it in the pop-up. You can actually get involved with it if you think it's totally irresistible like we all do. Let's see what we have here. Excuse me. He provides 4 really cool charts to us on a daily basis: the home run report, the daily fantasy report, the starting pitcher preview, and the daily stadium report. There's already some early games that have went off, so this is mostly going to be information focusing on the 405 9-game slate, and then there's a 340 turbo. But I think the Reds are on a rain delay. I saw a few early games, but this is the home run report. So ignore any of the earlier games, or you can just see how you would have done. Kyle Schwarber always projected. There was a doubleheader yesterday. He had a couple home runs in at least one of the games. Once again, in Philly, favorable matchup against Mackenzie Gore of the National, projected at almost 26% to hit another home run. The matchup is a boost of 15% in the park with a boost of 8%. Nolan Jones, the Colorado Rocky, one of their more potent bats, 1 in 4 chance to hit a home run today in Milwaukee against Hauser. 7% matchup boost, nice 22% park boost. Former Giant, left-handed bat for the Blue Jays, Mr. Brandon Belt, good friend of Brandon Crawford, did a podcast, Brandon and Brandon, for years. With the Giants, he's now a Blue Jay. He has a projection of almost 25% to hit a dinger off Logan Allen against those Guardians. A bat from those potent Orioles, Anthony Santander. And again, another almost 25% boost. Got a 30% boost against Javier of the Astros today. And Joey Votto, that game is in a rain delay, so if it does end up starting, Joey, 24.4%. A lot of Reds, so these would have been early slate games. That one that's in a rain delay currently. McLean, Steer, Benson, and Ellie De La Cruz, the rookie that's sparked the Reds to play a lot better. Ballpark Pal, daily fantasy report. He does a nice job. He being Aaron at Ballpark Pal, break it down by position. 3 of the top for every position except for outfield and pitcher. He lists 9. Josh Bell, the blue is FanDuel projections and the green is DraftKings for the day. Olsen, I think he hit his 100th RBI yesterday. Crazy, those Braves. The Olsen, Albies, I'm sure there's other ones. Acuna's always in there somewhere. There he is, number 2 in the outfield. I mean, they're just super stacked potential, right? Expensive though. If you try to pick any premium pitcher, Ohtani today against my Giants. Angels evened up the series yesterday, I believe 7-5. Ohtani Giants tend to strike out a lot. He is the highest projected pitcher on the slate. That is in a later game. Gosman always strike out upside. Second highest, Matt Fried. He had a nice first start off the DL last game. He's got a nice projection today in Montgomery, the pitcher that was traded from the Cardinals. Now starting with, like the Twins, projected in the top 4. What else do we see? Mookie Betts, a Dodger in Arizona, always nice play areas. Flirted with 400. I think he's dropped off, still solid with the Marlins. Devers with Boston, Adames, always with the Brewers, one of Brandon's picks. And there's an Oriole, the catcher Rushman. So nice information here. Again, we covered the pitchers. You can see the top 8. You can go to ballparkpal.com and see a lot more information at Perrin's website. Here's the starting pitcher preview. Really great information here. Covers overall in the last 1,000 preferred pitchers. Pitches from the pitcher, Johnny Jake and Jimmy Cueto, former Giant, pitching with the Marlins. Started out decent. I think he struggled a little bit in his last start. See his 14 fastball coming out of probably a smoking 85, 86 miles an hour. Deceptive though. He's grading an A. Not so good on his curve. There's a cutter. FC is his cutter. Not cutting so much. Slider, decent. That'll be projected a little over 5 innings, almost 5 strikeouts. Ashcraft. This is at Reds game, so it's already after lock, but there's what was predicted. Fluxon from the Rockies, not so good at grades, right? There's 3 preferred pitches, F, F, and D minus. Looking like he might have a tough time against the Brew Crew today in Milwaukee. That, I believe, is also an early game. I'm sure these first few or 4 are early on the slate. Let's glance down. Fried, 4-seam fastball, not so good. F, but nice A on cutter and change. Projected almost 6 innings, almost 7 strikeouts. Gosman pops out at almost 8, as well as the talked about Ohtani, the wonder player. There's so many rumors about where he's going. They say pretty much, unless the Cubs snag him, West Coast, a lot of people think the Dodgers and all their money. Some people think Seattle, the Giants are doing everything they can. I think they'll throw the kitchen sink out. They lost out on Judge and Korea last year, and it would make a difference. Big Japanese following in the city by the bay. Another decent Merrill Kelly, been playing those Dodgers. Miller actually matches up a little better on the other side of the ball for the Dodgers. Dodgers beat Arizona. They held on 5-4 last night. Dries had a 4 or 5 run lead. I have a visitor. You can't see her because I have the wallpaper back, but she's walking through the podcast area, and now she's leaving. Just left the building. Ballparks, again, that Cincinnati game's already off. By the time you watch this, it had a boost today, a big one, almost 40%. Cleveland, the Guardians against Brandon Belt and company. Vlad Jr., Springer. There's some bats in that lineup. Wind blowing out today in Cleveland. 17% overall run boost, 18 home runs, almost 30 for doubles and triples. Might want to look at that game for a over total. Same thing at Baltimore. Wind blowing out, runs up, home runs neutral. Those Baltimore bats. So Houston has some bats as well. Citizens and guaranteed. White Sox, Yankees. White Sox guaranteed. Great field has played smaller the last few days. See the wind blowing out in all directions. 29% boost in home runs today. So great information. That Angel Stadium with Ohtani. Hopefully the Giants can lift a couple into the air, get some runs off of Otani, which isn't going to be easy. Milwaukee, Miller Park, nice boost there. Opposite end of the spectrum, even though the wind is blowing out in the Coliseum in Oakland with those Rangers, Scherzer pitched well there yesterday. I had him. And who else did I have? I think my pitchers were both decent. I won a little bit more than I played. Didn't go off the charts with anything, but Scherzer was 50% on, but I couldn't avoid him. And I had another pitcher. You can go back and watch the video. I had to leave at the end. I was rushed because I had another meeting I was late for, but I did give some pitching projections and a couple of them. Oh, I know who it was. Guy did really good in Seattle. Logan, I think was his name. He went 7-1 hits against the Padres, 1 hit and 12 or 13 Ks. So those are my 2 pitchers. I did well, had a few stacks, but I didn't have the optimal. But the optimizer picking them out. Here's the announcement starting today. While they last, anybody's interested in best ball tournaments, we have an amazing collaboration with drafters for only $699.97. Look at the value. You get 10 $20 entries into their best ball. It's a $2 million prize pool. $300,000 first place prize is up for grabs. They'll even give you a $100 deposit credit. So if you start adding this up, 200, 300, we'll give you a lifetime VIP subscription to the Contrarian Edge Optimizer. I'll show you that here in a moment. That's lifetime, one time, all sports. We're baseball now. We're starting to weave in football. A lot of requests for football. It'll have NBA. It's yours for life for that prize as part of this promotion. You'll also get to participate in hosted tournaments by Fantasy Sports Logic on drafters that you will pay nothing for, and you'll have the opportunity to win some really nice prizes in those tournaments. And also our loyalty rewards program, which is really a hybrid revenue share. I'll get more into detail, but I think it's the first of its kind where I believe as players, without players, the platforms don't have anything, right? So in this case, you can play on drafters. You can have some free entries. You can have access to free tournament as a member only for this one-time $699.97, and you can participate in the success of the platforms of Fantasy Sports Logic, of drafters, of really excited about this Sportstopia. What is Sportstopia? It's a multimedia platform that's set to fuel your fantasy fire. What does that mean? It means the logo is almost done. I'm excited about that. Go get a little bit of a hint on a splash page. Sportstopia, like the Utopia.io. We brought together, it'll be announced later today or tomorrow, Emmy award-winning content providers from a recognized platform that if you've been in fantasy any length of time, you will recognize. You get access to this content, any premium content, absolutely free. And why did I do this, or we do this? Well, I've been a fantasy player since the late 90s. Football, I used USA Today to keep score with our team, our group of guys, right? There might have been some girls involved then too. And then the internet came along, and as things have progressed, obviously DraftKings, FanDuel made it through their limitation with legal struggles. When New York came at them, we'll be documenting that in a movie coming out called The Game Within. We have some crazy advisors, Peter Schenke from RotoWire, Ed Williams. They're both on the board of the FSGA, Fantasy Sports Gaming Association. But anyways, as a player, you need, really 3 things, at least 3 things to be successful, sometimes 4. You need a place to play. We're providing you with that. You need a tool if you want to have any chance to compete. I'm not saying you can't hand build and be great. There are some, but most of all, as I've witnessed over the years, successful players have to have access to an optimizer. We believe with our 7 daily player projection providers simulating up to 53,000 times in baseball, it's going to be crazy in football. We've given you the opportunity to get that at a price that's, again, part of this package for life. And then if you're like me, you want information, right? You want breaking news. So I go to different sites, ESPN, the Score, yesterday Twitter, right? Yesterday the breaking news about Barstool Sports being reacquired by Dave and ESPN pivoting to Penn Entertainment, and that was a monster deal. And it didn't have so much to do with fantasy, maybe more to do ESPN's by launching a sports book. So definitely into sports betting. Sportstopia will have access to daily up to the moment fantasy news and sports betting news. And we believe it's going to be one of the go-to destination sites, so you get access for free as a part of this package to any premium content, and you'll also participate in the hybrid rewards program and the success of that platform, because if you use it, which is a part of the thing, right? You can't just pay $699.97 and say, hey, I hope you're successful and I get a lot of rewards. The more you participate, it's called patronage. The more you play on the platform, the more you refer people to the platform, the more you engage in the content, the more you share the content. It's the future of what I think what I know businesses are going to have to go to. We call collaboration, right? I mean, you're seeing it a lot in sports. A lot of these athletes are getting involved, player athletes owning teams, Messi. In soccer, in Germany, there's fan-owned teams. The Packers are an example of that. Green Bay Packers in football, they are owned by fans. They just get bragging rights. They don't really participate in any profitable revenue shares, but this is where we are going, and I am super jazzed. This is the beginning. While it lasts, those best ball entries aren't going to be available forever. We really have about September 7th is opening NFL. So between now and then, while they last, you can see every package that's purchased, there are $10, $20 entries with a $100 credit. You can grab 5 more. That's what you choose to do, or you can play some prop picks on drafters. You can play some regular fantasy. So super jazzed about that promotion happening right now today. Hopefully you like that. Going to get a lot of media coverage behind it. Our YouTube channel gets like smashed, right? We have like 11 subscribers. As I'm talking, we made a deal yesterday with a group that's going to be massive. They want to promote the optimizer, probably promote this while it exists starting next week. I won't let the cat out of the bag on that one. What's this optimizer you're talking about, Daryl? That's updating. That has all this cool things. It's the CEO, worked on it for like 8 months. I haven't. Our tech team has. Let me show you. Show me something good. I know, don't sing. My girlfriend says, please don't sing on your podcast. Different slates. You can see the early slates went off, showing Turbo, DraftKings, FanDuel, highest projected Bailey over for the Twins as a pitcher. If you want to play the Turbo, I'm going to flip to the main. Turbo's a 340 slate, the main 405. As I said earlier, there are 9 games. I'm looking at DraftKings. They've got a mini max. I think it's 75,000 total prize pool in that 9 game. The $3 max 150's gotten pretty popular. That 7,500 up top. But whether you play 25 cent, 50 cent, they have dime games, whatever. If you're a super whale and you get into those, I don't even know as high as it goes because I'm not a super whale, but I think there's some big, what do they call them, high roller opportunities there. But the optimizer is good for any of those things. We created stack attack mode that's automated recently. This thing's finally screaming. You see some zeros because some of the projection providers haven't filled in yet. Who are they? You say, well, I'll tell you who they are. Ballpark Pal is one of them. We are currently exclusive with them, with their feed into the optimizer. Excited about that. The Baker engine. This is their first year for baseball. Ballpark Pal simulates 3,000 different outcomes. Baker engine, 10,000. So you got nice simulation possibilities there. FTN data, Frank, 40,000 simulations of any given MLB game, right? That's the most I've ever heard. There may be more. RotoWire was on with Shannon earlier today. If anybody's been involved with fantasy, you know the name RotoWire. Peter and Shannon over there, they provide data to some of the, premier playing sites and informational sites on the internet. We are excited. They are a provider here. All of these, except for Ballpark Pal, will also be available in football. And a lot of requests for people asking about what are you going to do for football. Sport Radar, Dan Williams. Sports Data.io legacy feed with Charles. They also provide us that Baker engine. Fast Perform with Corey. Fast Perform has been around since the 1980s. Corey's been around since the late 90s. So what does that all mean? That means in one place, one price, currently lifetime. There's a couple options now with the promo package. But look at the data, right? You can look at Gosman with Ohtani, the top two projected players for pitchers, which is normal in a 9-game slate. Prices are the two highest. Makes sense. Gosman against the Guardians. Ohtani against my Giants. Strike out a lot. Ownership, not bad. Not like Scherzer last night at 50%. We project Gosman at about 20, Ohtani 30, and then you garbage against those Mariners. They tend to strike out. Max Fried against the Pirates, who've been playing better. They gave the Braves another tough game yesterday. The Braves are the Braves. They are normally the top projected position player, but Acuna, find him just behind Judge, right? You'll see some of these position players are projected so well that they are above the Ryan Walker. He's going to be an opener for the Giants. He won't pitch. Maybe max 3 innings. Probably not that. Jordan Lyles. You can see he's projected behind Acuna Matata, Acuna and Judge, who they're not cheap, 6,800, 6,400, but they can carry your lineup with a couple of dingers, right? Get you their solos even 28 points. They have men on as much as 20 bases loaded, be 20 and 20. Anyways, one place, one price, $29.97 a month. You can actually test drive it for $1 for 7 days. Get a feel for it. Lifetime, one time, while in beta, $299.97, or the promotion that includes a whole bunch of value. Currently $699.97 that I showed you earlier. You can go back and review in the video. So what do you do with this thing? Contrarian mode, I'm kind of different, as you can tell by watching the video. I found that people playing fantasy that were winning more than me, they were getting different as well. So you can do contrarian mode on, contrarian mode off. I like to leave it on. That's why we programmed it. We believe we are groundbreakers in the optimizing space with this many providers with these options. Contrarian mode, a lineup, you can lock in whoever you want. I would lock in a Tony almost every time, but man, I have a hard time against my Giants, even though they strike out a lot. I will admit it, I'm going to play a Ohtani in some lineups today. But then it's a win-win, right? If he happens to go off and he propels me to win, I don't feel as bad about the Giants' loss. So there's two sides to that formula. What I had found last night, it was a 4-4 stack that took first place in the one of the max 150s. Probably was that way across the board. It's pretty uniform, but I think it was, I will tell you, if you got patience, that last night was a 4-4 with, you probably already know, but I'm going to tell you, they racked up 220 points. Scherzer, Gilbert, I told you I had those pictures. D'Arnaud, the catcher for the Braves. Kansas City for Beatty, Massey, Garcia, RCI, I don't know, Arcaia, the Braves shortstop, Waters for Kansas City, Acuna, and Harris. They had a 4-4 Kansas City, Atlanta with the two optimal pitchers. So I like to go 5. You can go 4. Last night's slate was a little smaller than night, I think. No, I think it was 11. Anyways, whatever. I'm going to show you 5. If you do 5, it's harder if you get expensive pitchers than to get all Braves. So some people now are doing what that person did last night and go 4. I'll show you 4. What it does automatically, you can see it calculating. You want to make sure you let it get done. You want this generate lineups to turn orange. I didn't lock anybody. I could have. I'm going to go, I could go individual here. I could go into pro settings and fade a team if I just absolutely positively didn't think someone from the Pirates tonight was going to be in the winner's circle. I could fade them, any team of your choice, but I'm going to do auto stacking because this is what we've worked on for a long time, and it's finally ready for prime time. It'll be ready for football as well. Still calculating. Let's watch it here again, because with a 9-game slate, still it have hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of possible combinations of stacking. What it's doing is it's getting you different and diverse, right? Generate lineups popped up over there, but I'm going to turn stack attack mode on because that's what we built it for. You can do either one on or off. On is going to give you, with the 4 stacks from as many different teams, unless you faded one tonight, with as many different pitcher variations. Now I could have went in and I can lock out Walker, lock out some of these openers who, unless everybody gets bombed, pitcher wise, an opener isn't going to be in the optimal. So you can mix and match with fading. Again, whole, you can fade whole, popping this open for you. See, if it didn't just update during our process, it might have, let's see what happened. Maybe because I set everything, it's not. I'll show you that once I'm through it. I'm going to let it do its magic, generate some lineups for me, just doing its thing. It'll take a minute with this many different variations on a 4 auto. Be patient and you will be rewarded with some cool options. There's a little message that'll go away. Voila. What do we have here, Daryl? We have our proprietary secret sauce blend of the 7. You're going, well, I only count 1, 2, 3, 4. But there's a little slider. Beyond RotoWire, Sport Radar, Sports Data IO, stats perform, and back to the blend. So you have the opportunity to look at 7, and if you're glancing at them, as I said, Ryan Walker, I'd get him out of the equation. But I just wanted to show you the diversity. And then look at pretty much the way we have it set up, you're getting coverage. If you're into having coverage, meaning you just would love to have one of these lineups with a 4 stack with a nice 4 matchup. It doesn't have to be a 4-4. It's going to go on and kind of do a thing. You can see not a bad opportunity except for Walker because he was so cheap. You got bigger bats into play, right? So not saying it's impossible. A 15 for Walker. I mean, he'd have to really stretch it out. 4,000 at 15 points, if that's what he did, then he would be worth it, right? I mean, that's a high projection for stats perform. If anybody else has him, what did Blend have? Stats perform, give us a 15 for Walker. There's 10 for FTN, so maybe pitching longer than I've witnessed. I've followed the Giants since I could put my ear up to an AM radio and listen to the static. Back in the day, WGN outside of Chicago, WLW Cincinnati, KDKA, Pittsburgh, KMOX, St. Louis, and a lot of AM listening. It shows you my age, right? Probably no one even knows what an AM radio is. You used to have them in your car, you know. But at night, there wasn't any thunderstorms. I could listen as far away as Houston. And I would until my parents would hear the static and they'd make me shut it off. And I'd try to turn it up so that I could just barely hear it, right? And they didn't. They knew what was going on. Anyway, I don't know how I got off onto that tangent. There's Ballpark Pal with a nice Hopkins had a great year. That's a former Giant playing leadoff for the Cubs. There's Bell, Massey. That's another Orioles stack, not bad. You got Pavetta against those Royals, which it'll even throw in. You know, that's not impossible. Massey for the Royals having a good game. You can give up a dinger and still have a high score as a pitcher, or you can, after the pitcher's removed, rarely does a pitcher go a complete game. The opposing player can get off. So you see what I wanted to show you. I mean, look at, you got Tatis there with a stack of the White Sox against the Yankees, Merle Kelly, Kevin Gausman. A lot of diversity. That's what it was built for, right? I didn't have to, I mean, it used to be in the beginning of this thing, but I know a lot of optimizers, they're all different. There's some great ones out there. I don't know of any of this price with this many features all in one place that you get these kind of options, but hey, it's all about perceived value, right? Here's our blend. What's the blend saying? It's liking some Yankees. Aaron Judge, who projected to hit a home run. You got a Met in there. Vogelbach, lefty with some pop, batting in the 5-hole, cheap, 2,300. Bowers from the Yankees. Duran having a good year for Boston. He's in the mix, playing leadoff. You got Torres, Volpe, and Judge. That's a nice. You got Darvish and Max Fried. You kind of get the idea. If you're saying, "Oh man, I like that blend. I'm going to play." How many are you going to play? You know, you can go all the way up to have it do 150. Let me just show you the diversity of 25. Show me 25. Working on it. This is beautiful. I didn't set any max exposure variances. I could have through a little CSV file, loaded up into DraftKings. I could look at it and see, they see numbers. They don't mean anything. How do I know what the numbers are? No, that's what you're thinking. Well, let me show you. Look at the lineup diversity, the stacks, right? It's where are you? You're hiding down there. Shows you all these different stack combinations. Guardians in 2, Royals in 2, White Sox 1, Atlanta 2, Toronto 2, the Dodgers 1, Astros 2, Yankees 1, Padres 2, Arizona 2, Seattle 1, the Giants against Ohtani. You'd be getting different, but hey, that would be a wonderful thing if the Giant somehow erupted. What happens here is you're trying to hit one of the teams almost every night. The slate's normally not every game 2-1, 1-0, 3-2. There's like a game that breaks out, right? Last night it was a combination of the Royals and the Braves scoring 8 or 9, but one of the team busts out and has that 12-13 run outburst, and you stack that team and you have the right stack, then you Can't get down there for some reason. If I could get down there and close this, I see it up there. I think it's my computer, not the optimizer. It would show us those lineups. Let me see if I can do it again. How much time? We update every 30 minutes. So let me see, make sure I'm not in the middle of the upgrade. Let me try this again. Oh, it's working on it. If I can keep that closed. Oh. Go me. Get that out of there. That is not normal. On your PC or Mac, when you're doing this, there's a little close button at the bottom. And it will, let me try something else to see. Once you close it, it'll show you all the variations of the team. See what it's doing and why it's doing. They're consistently, we are in beta, consistently working on things. Let me see if it allows me to get to that close button. It's gonna be a pester, meaning it's not allowing me today. I don't know what that is. I don't know if I need to, at least we don't pre-record these so they're perfect, because nobody's perfect. Not even close. There's the turbo. There's, you can go into the showdowns as well. Go back to the main. Doing its thing. I could lock a picture. I could, Walker's interesting. Or across the board. I mean, I'm believing more of these projections. 7 and 5. I mean, he's cheap. I mean, they know something I don't know, and I follow the Giants. That would be last night they had a bullpen game, so maybe they're thinking. I mean, normally if there's an opener, Tristan Beck, he didn't pitch last night. Wood came in. Jacob Junis came in. Alexander gave up 4 runs in the first, like all 4 guys he faced scored. That was the deciding factor. Giants bounced back within 3. They scored 3, and then Angels opened it back up 1-2. But yeah, I would probably fade Walker, even though he's cheap and I saw him popping up. Sometimes that comes back to bite me. Sometimes I have to learn to trust the math, right? It's all numbers. What am I going to do? It's ready. I'm going to go back to, I'm going to show you a 5 stack. I just locked Walker out. Could have, I want Fernando or Acuna in every lineup, Judge, Mookie. You can do that too, as well as stack. Let's go to auto. Let me see if I can show you what I want to show you. I'm going to stay persistent here, unless they're doing something in the back end. Normally I do these videos earlier, so it could be they're not thinking I'm going to be doing this now. They give me a list every morning of all the updates, and this thing has came a long ways since the idea was birthed at the beginning of the year. Okay. I didn't even hit stack attack mode. It's still going to give me a stack. Might be a little variance in the who they match it with, but we'll see. I think it's all good. I'm going to show you. Yeah, there's that little hair, but that hasn't affected anything. Darvish and Fried, what a little bit different in the blend, right? No, I don't think so. Darvish, Fried, 5 Yankees. I don't think was Cole pitching tonight. Didn't see him. That may not be correct there. The Baker, not sure where they pulled. Some of this you got to watch, right? Cole, he's not in, so pay attention to things like that. He hasn't been scratched from one of the providers. Probably one that hasn't, because it's earlier enough on the main slate. They haven't listed a starter, so Cole could have been randomly put in there. I almost 100% know he won't be pitching. I think he pitched a couple days ago. But let me go back to show you what I was trying to do here. 20. You can do up to 150, generate some lineups, see if it allows me to do this. If not, you'll have to believe me. There it is. Showed me. See if it, yep, there's what I was trying to show you. Hit that close button when it shows it to you, and instead of having to read the numbers in the CSV file, it shows me Darvish and Fried. Darvish and Fried did a lot, right? I bet it's because I didn't use stack attack mode. Let's look at that. So it gave me the same pictures. I didn't lock any with a diversity of player stack lineups, right? So let's go back and see. I'm learning as you're. If I do stack attack mode on, let it catch up. See the differences. Take this 20 out, see if it gives me diversity in the pictures. And something good. Okay. Try 20 again. Well, it did. It gave me all sorts of diversity and contrarian. But once again, I am going to send a message to my dev team because this shouldn't be happening. You can go back and look at any of the prior videos and you'll see, you should see every time, it'll show you all the options that are there. And then when you hit close, which is down here below my computer, you can't get that thing to roll up, right? It's just saying, Daryl, we're not going to do that for you today for some reason, but anyways, it will work. I promise you. Well, that's why it's in beta, and you're getting an incredible option on prices. So, the pro settings going to come out. Yeah, there's what I wanted to show you earlier. You can, if you desire, not use the stack attack. You can get as focused as you want to get by excluding teams, max, min, diverse on pitchers, individual players. There's 264 current possible players for tonight's main slate. And you can make a lot of adjustments, but we like to do the auto. Would like for it to work with the with that close button. So I'm going to post this video, and by the time it is rendered, I'm going to have our tech team know, and we will have that little glitch of that close button. You saw it in action with the one, but not the other. But what I wanted to show you is that with the stack attack mode on, it wasn't going to give you the same two pitchers with all 20 lineups. It was going to give you diversity. So hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about anything, support, or one of the few that actually has a phone number, it'll work. Has people answering it, or they get back to you. We have an email, we have a WhatsApp, a lot of ways to get a hold of us. Look forward to any feedback. Again, 7-day test drive, $1. Monthly $29.97. All sports, as we add them currently MLB, we are weaving in NFL as we speak. We will have NBA. Just told me the projections were updated, which we do every 30 minutes. You can actually turn that off. It will be available, but I wouldn't recommend it. You might miss some breaking player news. And then two options, lifetime, $22.99.97, one-time, lifetime, all-time, all sports. But now the VIP promo with the value at drafters, the sports data IO. There's even a TV element coming into that I haven't added yet, but I mean, a lot of you watched on weekends, especially, right? Some of these fantasy shows, and we're going to give you access to a television network as well. It's going to be about. So A lot of things, probably most of you have left, but those of you that are here, hey, hopefully you're having an amazingly awesome, super spectacular, and definitely prosperous Wednesday with your daily fantasy contest. I'm going to do what people look forward to. I'm going to stop this recording.